Aaron Hernandez was a young man who seemingly had everything going for him. He excelled at college football, playing for the University of Florida Gators, and by the time he was just 20 years old, he entered the NFL draft. He was picked in the 4th round by the New England Patriots, and in 2012, he even reached the Super Bowl, although the team came up short despite managing to score a touchdown. That same year, he inked a lucrative $40 million contract extension and received a substantial $12.5 million bonus. On the surface, it appeared that he had it all, but in reality, his life was marked by more challenges than triumphs. He had a history of violence, and accusations followed him for an extended period of time. In 2013, Aaron became friends with Odin Lloyd, who played football but wasn't a pro, and Odin was dating Aaron's fiance's sister. On June 17th, Odin was found dead near Aaron's home with gunshot wounds. This made Aaron a suspect, and his life started falling apart. On that day, Aaron, along with his friend Carlos Ortiz and Ernest Wallace, picked up Odin from his home. We have a video from the same day at a gas station where Aaron helped Ortiz get into the car while getting gas. Something seemed strange, especially in how Aaron was acting. He seemed to be dancing before going into the store, and danced again after coming out. Later, he put Ortiz in the back seat. We can't be sure if they were drunk or not. On the same day Odin was killed, the same day we saw Aaron and Ortiz at the gas station, they seemed drunk. There's another video of the same day when Ernest and another friend were returning to Aaron's home. The car was damaged and they rushed into the house, trying to get inside before the garage door fully opened. In the video, Aaron had a gun in his hand, and an expert said it was the same type of gun used in Odin's murder, a Glock 45 caliber pistol. This video also shows Aaron with the gun before and after the murder. A day later, Aaron was caught on camera destroying his cell phone after being questioned by the police. Although the motive for the crime remains unclear, Aaron was found guilty of killing Odin Lloyd and sentenced to life in prison. Then, on April 19, 2017, he hanged himself in his jail cell. On the night of December 7, 2000, Trevor Deely attended his office Christmas party at a nightclub near the Bank of Ireland in Dublin, where he had been working in the IT department for about a year. When he left the party at 3:30 a.m., there was a taxi driver strike, so he had to walk home through an area known for crime and gang violence. It was a 20-minute walk, and since his office was nearby, Trevor decided to stop there and pick up his umbrella before continuing home in the rain. Interestingly, the bank's security cameras captured a man dressed in black standing behind one of the pillars of the bank's gate. This man remained there for almost half an hour before Trevor arrived. Just after 3:30, the man in black took a phone call, and a moment later, Trevor walked by, also on his phone. Police later discovered that, at that exact time, Trevor had called a coworker who was still at the bank. The CCTV footage shows Trevor reaching the bank's gate, and another man dressed in black emerges from the shadows to speak with him. While it didn't appear they knew each other, Trevor didn't seem alarmed. The man simply stood by the gate as Trevor entered. A few minutes later, the man in black walked out of view. Trevor's coworker reported that he and Trevor had tea that night and chatted about the party, and Trevor briefly used his work computer just before leaving the bank at around 4 a.m. The CCTV footage shows Trevor stepping onto the street and opening his umbrella before heading home. He didn't appear to be followed, and at about 4:06 a.m., he left a voicemail for a friend, reassuring them that he was okay and on his way home. Sadly, this voicemail would be the last contact anyone had with Trevor Deely. At 4:14 a.m., Trevor was captured on an ATM camera about 15 minutes from his apartment. In less than 30 seconds, another man in black appeared on the screen, seemingly following Trevor. In 2016, after digitally enhancing the CCTV footage, the police concluded that the man in black from the bank was the same individual who later followed Trevor. This marked the last sighting of Trevor alive. Trevor didn't show up for work on Friday, but his co-workers didn't find it unusual, given that many were recovering from the party and had taken the day off. However, when Trevor's friends and family couldn't reach him over the weekend, and he didn't return to work on Monday, he was reported missing. His friends and family initiated the search, and it was they, not the police, who obtained the troubling CCTV footage from that night. Unfortunately, they didn't gain access to it until 4 days after his disappearance, which meant valuable time had been lost in the search. Several theories about Trevor's disappearance have circulated over the years, but none have been confirmed. Some speculate that he may have been intoxicated that night and accidentally fell into a body of water under a bridge, but thorough searches by the Irish police found no evidence of this. Most people believe that the mysterious man seen following Trevor in the CCTV footage is somehow connected to his disappearance, but this individual remains unidentified to this day. In 2017, an anonymous tip suggested that the man who followed Trevor that night was a gang member. Allegedly, he murdered Trevor when Trevor refused to assist him in gaining access to the Bank of Ireland. According to this source, Trevor was buried in the woods a few miles from where he was last seen. Despite an extensive search effort involving 20 police officers and a search dog, the search was called off after 2 months, and Trevor Deely's unsettling disappearance remains an open and active case 23 years later. The events leading up to this, however, remain shrouded in mystery. On November 28, 2012, a perplexing incident occurred in Victoria, British Columbia, when Emma Philippoff vanished in unusual circumstances. Just a year before her mysterious disappearance, Emma had realized her lifelong dream of relocating to Perth, Ontario, to the Canadian West. Upon her arrival in Victoria, she lacked both a job and a permanent residence. Nevertheless, she swiftly moved in with a friend and secured employment at a local cafe while searching for a stable place to live. Initially, things appeared to be on track for Emma. However, as winter approached, her behavior began to take an alarming turn. According to her roommate, Emma began displaying obsessive-compulsive behaviors, erratic actions, and even seemed to experience manic episodes. A few months after arriving in Victoria, Emma abruptly left her friend's apartment, quit her cafe job, and began living wherever she could find shelter, including hotels, the woods, and boats in Victoria's harbor. By early 2012, she had settled into a woman's shelter in Victoria. During that summer, Emma secured a seasonal job at Redfish Bluefish, a popular seafood restaurant in Victoria's inner harbor. For a while, she appeared content, and it was around this time that she purchased a red Mazda MPV van with an intention of living on the road, traveling to various cities in the US, Mexico, and Canada. However, her plans for freedom were thwarted as her mental health deteriorated, causing her behavior to become increasingly erratic and unpredictable. In the months leading up to her disappearance, friends and shelter staff noted Emma's paranoia concerning an unnamed man she had dated during her time as a culinary student in Perth. She never disclosed whether she maintained contact with this individual, but it seems to be a source of her heightened paranoia. A few weeks before she vanished, Emma exhibited bizarre behavior by moving furniture from the woman's shelter across the street, claiming she heard voices emanating from the furnishings instructing her to do so. During this period, she also gave away or sold many of her personal belongings. On November 20th, there exists CCTV footage of Emma at the YMCA in Victoria. In this peculiar video, she can be observed entering and exiting the building multiple times within a 14-minute span. Some individuals have speculated that she might have been attempting to evade someone, while others suggest she may have been waiting for a ride and didn't want to endure the freezing cold outside while waiting. However, neither of these theories has been substantiated. 3 days following the recordings of this footage, Emma engaged in a series of emotionally charged phone conversations with her mother. During these discussions, Emma expressed a desire to return to her mother's residence in Perth. Her mother agreed, but grew increasingly concerned as Emma vacillated between returning to Perth and returning to Victoria through their conversations. On November 28th, Emma's mother became aware of her staying in a woman's shelter when she called back a number that Emma had used and a staff member answered the phone. Troubled by her daughter's well-being, Emma's mother promptly flew to Victoria. Early on that same day, at approximately 8:30 a.m., CCTV footage captures Emma entering a 7-Eleven convenience store and purchasing a $200 prepaid card. Later in the afternoon, she returned to the same store to buy a prepaid cell phone, which she never activated. The video shows Emma repeatedly glancing out the window and hesitating before leaving the store, as if she may have been trying to avoid someone outside. Although her behavior indicated she might have been followed or threatened, this was never confirmed. Emma returned to the shelter around 6 p.m. to discover that her mother was en route to pick her up and take her home. Upon learning this news from a staff member, Emma hastily left the shelter and took a cab to the airport. However, moments later, she abruptly terminated the ride, claiming she couldn't afford the $60 fare despite reportedly having over $2,000 on her at the time. Dennis Quay, an individual acquainted with Emma, encountered her later at around 8 p.m. near a crossing outside the Empress Hotel. Emma was barefoot, and Dennis observed her displaying signs of extreme agitation. She hesitated to cross the street. Concerned about Emma's behavior, Dennis inquired if she believed she was being followed. Emma assured him that she was not. Unsure of how to handle the situation, Dennis contacted the police to report a disoriented and distressed woman walking barefoot in front of the Empress Hotel. Within minutes, the Victoria police arrived and engaged in a 45-minute conversation with Emma. Surprisingly, the officers determined that she did not pose a threat to herself or others, subsequently allowing her to leave. Regrettably, this marked the last known sighting of Emma. 3 hours after her disappearance, Emma's mother arrived at the women's shelter to collect her daughter, but Emma was nowhere to be found. Subsequent to her mother's report of her disappearance, the search for Emma Filipoff commenced the following morning. Investigators located Emma's red van in the Chateau Victoria Hotel parking lot, where she had arranged for it to be towed 3 days prior to her disappearance on November 25th. Inside the van, all of Emma's belongings, such as her laptop, passports, a pillow, and clothing indicating the possibility of planning to return to Perth or embark on a journey, were found. Sadly, this marks the point at which Emma's case went cold, except for a few enigmatic tips. In 2014, an individual wearing a green shirt entered a convenience store located in Gastown, approximately 75 miles north of Victoria. According to the store owner's account, this individual forcibly removed a poster that advertised a $25,000 reward for locating Emma. He conveyed to the owner that Emma was not missing, asserting that she was his girlfriend and had been residing with him. He further claimed that she had left her family due to a strong dislike for them. Despite the store owner's report to the police, the identity of this man remains undisclosed. 4 years later, in 2018, nearly 6 years after Emma's disappearance, another individual came forward, confirming that he had encountered her on the morning following her vanishing. He admitted that he had not previously connected the woman he had seen with Emma. According to this individual, Emma stood by the roadside, barefoot and drenched, displaying signs of nervousness and paranoia as she requested a ride. She stated her intention to visit a friend in Colwood, situated approximately 10 miles from Victoria. Although the man explained that he couldn't drive her that far, he did transport her a few miles and dropped her off at a nearby gas station. Following this encounter, Emma remained unseen by anyone. Curiously, the identity of the friend she mentioned planning to visit remains shrouded in mystery. Despite her mother's relentless years-long search for her daughter, the reason behind Emma's disappearance remains a mystery. Some individuals speculate that she may have become a victim of the man she mentioned dating in Perth, even though the police thoroughly interrogated him and eventually cleared him of suspicion. Another possibility is that she was abducted by the individual in the green shirt seen in the footage. Given Emma's deteriorating mental state in the weeks preceding her disappearance, some believe that her mental health challenges may have overwhelmed her. As 11 years have passed, law enforcement authorities are still unable to determine whether Emma departed the island at all or if she continues to remain somewhere unknown. The puzzling vanishing of the Jamison family in 2009 garnered public and media attention following the discovery of unsettling footage by the police. Residing in Eufaula, Oklahoma in 2009, Bobby and Sherilyn Jamison, along with their 6-year-old daughter Madison, appeared to lead ordinary lives. However, beneath the surface, the Jamisons' marriage was troubled, prompting investigators to explore whether their challenging circumstances played a role in their disappearance. Leading up to their vanishing, the couple grappled with financial difficulties. Since 2003, they had been on disability due to Bobby's debilitating back pain resulting from a severe car accident. Sherilyn, diagnosed with bipolar disorder, sometimes opted not to take her prescribed medication, adding to the complexity of their situation. In 2009, the Jamison family embarked on a journey to Red Oaks, Oklahoma, approximately 30 miles away from their Eufaula residence, to inspect a 40-acre plot of land. Their specific request was to view the property without the presence of a real estate agent. They had shared with their friends and family their intention to relocate there and begin anew, a decision prompted by the disagreement with their daughter's school, leading to the withdrawal of their 6-year-old daughter Madison from kindergarten. Throughout the week, they remained out of contact, as the Jamisons were known for their penchant for periods of seclusion, often going off the grid for weeks at a time. No immediate concern arose regarding their absence until a pair of hunters stumbled upon their abandoned truck on a remote dirt road at the edge of the woods 9 days after their last sighting. Inside the vehicle, authorities discovered a GPS, cell phones, empty prescription pill bottles, wallets, and a surprisingly large sum of $32,000 in cash, a stark contrast to their reported financial struggles. Additionally, the family's dog was found alive but severely dehydrated and malnourished inside the truck. A further unsettling discovery was made: an 11-page angry letter from Sherilyn to Bobby, accusing him of various grievances and ominously stating, "I would not wish my daughter to be raised in foster care because of you being in prison for attempted murder and her mother dead." The circumstances surrounding the Jamison family's disappearance remain shrouded in mystery, but a search effort commenced in the vicinity of the abandoned truck. Over 9 months, a search team comprising 400 volunteers, 16 search dogs, unmanned drones, planes, horses, and a specialized search unit meticulously scoured the woods. During this period, unsettling footage recorded by the family's home security cameras on the day they vanished was uncovered by authorities. In the video footage, Bobby and Sherilyn can be observed as they load their truck in preparation for their trip, but there is an immediate sense of something amiss. The couple makes more than 20 trips back and forth to the truck, at times placing items in the vehicle only to retrieve them and return them to the house, repeating this process. Curiously, several times they walk from the truck to the house and back without carrying anything. Adding to the eerie atmosphere, the couple changes clothing multiple times during the video, and their interaction with each other is notably absent. A psychologist consulted to analyze the footage attributed the bizarre, trance-like movements and odd behavior to potential drug use, given Bobby's history, although this was never confirmed. Delving further into the Jamisons' lives, the police encountered additional perplexities. A close family friend, a pastor, revealed that shortly before their disappearance, Bobby had shared his belief in spirits residing on his roof and had even requested multiple exorcisms. Moreover, Bobby had been reading the Satanic Bible in an attempt to rid his home of these spirits. Friends and family members also reported a sense of haunting in the house, often describing paranormal encounters and an overwhelming malevolent presence during visits. Despite these claims, it was known that Sherilyn was involved in some form of witchcraft, regularly conducting seances at her home and discussing supposed paranormal experiences. Additionally, she had cats that, when they passed away, she suspected were poisoned by the neighbors, leading her to spray paint the words, Witches do not like it when their cats are killed, on a large metal storage container on the Jamisons' property, further fueling the enigma surrounding the case. However, it wasn't until November 2013, 4 years after the Jamison family's disappearance, that their skeletal remains were discovered by 2 deer hunters approximately 3 miles from where their family's abandoned truck had been located 4 years earlier. Due to the advanced state of decomposition on the bones, it took an additional 8 months for forensic investigators to conclusively identify the remains as those of the Jamison family. Unfortunately, due to the condition of the skeletal remains, the causes of their death could not be determined. Given the multitude of unsettling events and perplexing circumstances leading up to the family's vanishing, numerous theories emerged regarding their fate. Initially, police scrutinized Bobby Jamison's father as a potential suspect in the murders. Several months prior to the family's disappearance, Bobby had filed a lawsuit against his father, seeking $10,000 for unpaid work at his father's gas station, with promises of future ownership. However, when his father sold the gas station and reneged on the agreement, Bobby obtained a restraining order against him after receiving multiple death threats. Although Bobby's father had a history of methamphetamine use and criminal activity, authorities eventually ruled him out. One prevalent theory suggests that, considering Bobby's history of drug use and the unexplained discovery of $32,000 in the family's vehicle, it's plausible that the Jamisons may have been connected to the drug trade and met their end in a botched drug deal. The area where the bodies were found was known for drug activity, but no concrete evidence has surfaced to substantiate this theory. Law enforcement discovered a small hole on the back of Bobby's head. Yet, forensic specialists have concluded that it was too small to be consistent with a bullet wound and was more likely the result of post-mortem animal activity. Some individuals have put forth the theory that the Jamisons might have been entangled with a cult. The enigmatic symbols and cryptic writing discovered on the family's truck appear to bolster this notion. Additionally, Cheryl Lynn's own mother asserts that her daughter was on a cult's hit list for unspecified reasons. While cult activity had been reported in eastern Oklahoma since the 1990s, its prevalence had dwindled over the years, and no concrete evidence has been found linking the Jamisons to a cult. Given the presence of a hate-filled letter in the truck and the couple's history of mental health challenges and substance abuse, some speculate that either Bobby or Cheryl Lynn may have perpetrated the murder of their family before taking their own lives. However, with no corroborating evidence at the scene to substantiate these theories, the case remains unsolved after 14 years. Law enforcement and investigators continue to search for fresh leads, but currently, there are no suspects in the disappearance and homicide of the Jamison family. On the evening of July 29, 2015, Stephen Mackerel joined his brother and friends for a night out at Lucky's Tavern, a popular bar in downtown Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Stephen's brother departed at 11 p.m. to prepare for work the following morning, advising Stephen, who was inebriated, to return home safely. However, around 1:30 a.m., Stephen and his friends left the bar with the intention of meeting up in the parking lot of a nearby Walgreens to discuss their plans. Tragically, Stephen never reached the Walgreens, and his friends never saw him again. Stephen resided with his parents and worked as a professional poker dealer at a casino in Hollandale Beach near Fort Lauderdale. Concern grew when he failed to return home and missed work. Although numerous surveillance systems were present in the area where Stephen was last spotted, it was estimated to take weeks to compile the pertinent footage. During this period, investigators conducted interviews with the friends and family members who had last seen Stephen, speculating that he may have been involved in an accident due to his intoxicated state. Search efforts encompassed multiple lakes and ponds, yielding no significant discoveries. The investigation further complicated when it was revealed that Stephen's phone had run out of battery at the bar, and because the phone remains inactive thereafter, law enforcement was unable to employ it to track his whereabouts. At the time of his vanishing, Stephen was 25 years old and had a 1-year-old daughter, as well as a committed long-term girlfriend with whom he had plans to marry. Friends and family staunchly asserted that Stephen was not inclined to willingly abandon his life and disappear without providing any explanation. Regrettably, certain findings from the investigation strongly indicated that Stephen's disappearance was not a choice he made. Approximately 2 weeks after his last known appearance, investigators uncovered evidence that Stephen had used his credit card at a gas station in Pompano Beach, situated about an hour's drive from the bar. The 15-mile detour from the bar to the gas station puzzled everyone. Surveillance footage from the gas station depicted Stephen entering the store at 2:26 a.m., appearing visibly intoxicated as he clumsily shopped for snacks. The store owner seemed untroubled by his behavior, and within a minute, Stephen approached the counter to pay for his snacks using his credit card. Subsequently, he engaged in a brief conversation with 2 young women in the gas station, although this occurred outside the camera's view. Nearly a week later, additional footage surfaced, dramatically altering the course of the investigation. In this CCTV footage, Stephen could be seen standing beside his 2013 white Ford Fusion in the parking lot, engaging in a confrontation with the driver of an unidentified silver sedan. As the silver car departed, Stephen stepped back and hurled what appeared to be his drink at the driver, before gesturing with his hands as he returned to his vehicle. 3 minutes later, the silver sedan circled back into the gas station, positioning itself directly behind Stephen's car. The intentions of the driver remain undisclosed, but upon Stephen's departure to his Ford, the silver sedan sped after him. Tragically, this marked the final sighting of Stephen. All that was known about the driver was that he was an African-American man who had entered the gas station shirtless a few minutes prior to the incident, but remained unidentified. Over the course of 8 years, Fort Lauderdale police have conducted an extensive search for Stephen's car. His license plate never triggered any license plate readers, indicating that he likely remained within the Fort Lauderdale vicinity. Search teams explored over 20 bodies of water in hopes of locating the vehicle, but to date, nothing has been discovered. Alarmingly, these searches uncovered nearly 20 other vehicles in nearby lakes, ponds, and canals, including stolen vehicles bearing bullet holes, yet none were connected to Stephen's disappearance, providing no leads. As of 2023, detectives and investigators remain in the dark, uncertain whether Stephen met with an accident or fell victim to something considerably more sinister. In this video, members of the Volusia Sheriff's Department in Florida approached a young man and his friend who had parked in a driveway.
Stop, stop, stop. Step out of the car for us. Stop, both of you, stop. Step out of the car for me, man.
The officer requested that the youths exit the vehicle, which they comply by raising their hands. Repeatedly, the officer inquires if the young man possesses a weapon, eventually leading to the separation of the youth from the car and subsequent handcuffing.
No guns on you, nothing like that, man? All right, step out for me, bud. We'll explain what's going on here in a minute, sir, okay? Step out of the car. Step out of the car. Okay, you don't have a gun or anything on you, right, man? All right, step away from the car. Step away from the car. Step away. Stop!
The officer admonishes the young man multiple times, though the exact offense committed by the youth remains unclear. The situation takes a turn moments later when the officer points out the presence of a firearm on the ground.
Stay over there for me. Step over there. Put him up against the front of the car. You freaking stupid? Huh? You freaking idiot? Pulled the gun out as we're trying to get him to step out of the car. Yes. No, we were trying to get him to step away from the car.
Evidently, the 18-year-old suspect, Brian Holmes, had attempted to conceal the weapon while conversing with the officer. The incident had originated from Brian's driving, during which he had forced another vehicle onto the shoulder after making contact with its rear bumper. He subsequently fired shots at the vehicle multiple times, fortunately without causing any injuries. Weapons can pose a significant threat when in the possession of troubled young individuals. The same concerns apply to children who may be too young to distinguish right from wrong, as exemplified by these 2 12-year-old boys who were discovered engaging with a firearm not far from Daytona Beach, Florida. The video commences with a 911 call from a woman who reports witnessing 2 young boys aiming a gun at passing vehicles.
911, where's your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. We're at Brook Circle in US 1. It was those 2 little kids, and as we were driving past the property, the little kids were standing out in the field. It appeared that he had a handgun and he was pointing it at our car as we were driving by.
Upon arriving at the scene, the police officer instructs the juveniles to raise their hands.
Put your hands up! Stop running right now! I'll say send a dog to you. Put your hands up. Come out to me right now. Bullshit. Get out here now.
As they were concealed in a sheltered area adjacent to the road, the police officer draws her own firearm and instructs them to come out.
Let me see your hands. Stop right there.
The boys explained that they had a gun and were discharging it away from the road.
How old are you?
We are both 12.
Keep your hands where I can see them. You drop them, bad things are going to happen. You understand me? What the hell are you doing out here? Is this your property?
Afterwards, she inquires about the gun's location, searches the boys, and proceeds to handcuff both of them before recovering the loaded firearm from beneath a section of fencing.
Where's the gun? I saw you with it in your hand. What do you mean? Lying to me is not a good deal, dude. No, I can't. Put your hands behind your back.
Am I under arrest?
I'm securing you for my safety and yours right now. Well, at least I got a tetanus shot recently, so it's got to be around in here somewhere. 3, 4. Oh yeah. He's got some in the chamber, one in the chamber, one in the ready to go. Fabulous. All right, back out.
Both suspects faced charges for discharging a firearm and firearm possession by an individual under the age of 16. Additionally, the boy who allegedly aimed the gun at a witness was charged with aggravated assault with a firearm. The case of Morgan Leppert in 2008 is well known to many residents of Florida. At that time, she was just 15 years old and had made plans with her then-boyfriend, 22-year-old Toby Lowry, to leave the state together. In pursuit of their plan, they unlawfully entered the home of an elderly disabled man, ultimately resulting in his tragic death, as they intended to steal his truck. The courtroom footage reveals Morgan Leppert listening to her recorded confession, where she openly acknowledges both striking and stabbing the defenseless victim, James Thomas Stewart.
I looked away. I was about to cry. I was about to tell Toby I don't want to do this, but Toby just already hit him, and he's like, come on, baby, come on, hit him. No, he's like, why are y'all gonna kill me? I'm already half dead anyways.
Consequently, Leppert and Lowry received life sentences for their heinous actions. On May 18, 2018, Seattle police officers responded to an incident in Franklin High School following the discovery of a loaded handgun in a student's backpack.
Good, how are you?
This backpack keeps of cologne, so because it's trying to cover up the marijuana smell.
This is bio.
You
Okay.
you guys being audio video recorded.
Yeah.
I haven't checked the rest of the backpack, but first pocket I checked, I could feel.
The individual in question, an 18-year-old student, had been summoned to the school office due to suspicions of smelling like marijuana. However, when informed that his backpack would be subject to a search, he admitted to having a loaded firearm.
It was in the classroom, so he was saying, he looked real nervous, and I said, you have something in your bag that you shouldn't have? And I said, marijuana, and he goes, not marijuana. And he goes, well, I just don't know, there might be something in there, so.
Okay. All right. Well.
And I have not checked the rest of the bag, so I will do that unless this gives you guys probable cause to do the rest of the bag. Whatever demand.
Yeah, we'll take the bag.
Okay.
The school authorities handed over the backpack to the police, who subsequently retrieved the loaded weapon. The police then conducted a meticulous search of the bag, documenting the firearm's serial number and relaying this information to dispatch.
To run when you're ready. Go ahead. It's a 6-hour model 938 and serial number 52 boy 2273778.
The backpack was returned to the young man's grandmother, and he was interviewed by the police.
We went through this. There's nothing else in there, so we figure you guys either can keep it or we can give it to Grandma to take it home. Then we don't have to deal with it. The gun is stolen.
Okay, that's right.
So he's going to jail. So we'll go talk to him and find out.
Got anything on me that's gonna poke me, stick me, hurt me? Okay. Alright, go ahead and have a seat for me.
Initially, he claimed to be unaware of the gun's presence in his backpack and suggested that his cousin had borrowed it. During this conversation, the police discovered another individual's credit card in the young man's wallet.
So what's going on today? Why are we here?
So I got called down for the 4 referrals that I got in the last week. They said I smelled like weed, and then they went to go get my backpack. They asked me, did I have weed in my backpack? I said, oops, I might have weed in my backpack, saying basically, yeah, I have weed. And then they came down and they searched me. Then there was a gun in my backpack, and I did not know nothing about it. And I was lost and confused about everything. And then they called you guys down here.
Okay. You didn't know there was a gun in your backpack?
No, sir.
Is it your backpack?
Yes, sir.
How would a gun get in there?
I was at my cousin's. I spent the night there. He went out, came back. When I woke up to school, grabbed it, left, came here.
What's your cousin's name?
Ronald.
You spent the night there last night?
Yes, sir.
Who else was with you?
Just me and him.
Just you and him?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're saying that you said there might be a gun in my backpack.
No, I said there might be weed in my backpack. I was referring to the weed the whole time. I did not know there was weed in my backpack.
Okay.
Who is Mohammed Abdi?
No.
And who is Caleb Works?
That's Caleb's ID. He goes here.
I got that. Why is it in your wallet?
Because that's my friend Caleb.
Why do you have his ID?
Because he left it at the gym. And I picked it up. And I'm supposed to give it to him.
Okay, why do you have somebody else's credit card?
I don't know.
Once again, he asserted that his cousin might have placed it there. However, he was promptly arrested on charges of unlawful possession of a firearm and possession of stolen property.
Realize it's a crime just to possess somebody else's credit card? This isn't a new wallet, man. This wallet's pretty beat up and old.
I got it from my cousin's. It was at his house. Picked it up. It's a wallet. Didn't check it. Put my stuff in it. Got up this morning.
Okay, go ahead and stand up for me. Face the wall. Okay, you're under arrest, okay?
Firearm is stolen, so you're in possession of a stolen firearm.
Alright, go and have a seat, okay? I'll get you down to the precinct here in a minute.
The tragic incident that occurred at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School resulted in the loss of 17 lives and left 17 others injured. The perpetrator, a 19-year-old former student named Nicholas Cruz, carried out an attack on February 14th of 2018 when he entered the school premises and indiscriminately opened fire on students and teachers. Prior to the shooting, Cruz recorded footage on his phone in which he chillingly articulated his detailed plans.
Here's the plan. I'm gonna go take an Uber in the afternoon before 2:40. From there, I'll go onto school campus, walk up the stairs, unload my bags, and get my AR and shoot people down at the main courtyard. Await, and people will die.
Expressing his intent for people to lose their lives, he spoke in a remarkably composed manner about his brutal intentions.
Today is the day that it all begins. The day of my massacre shall begin. All the kids in school will in fear and hide. From the wrath of my power, they will know who I am. I am nothing, I am no one. My life is nothing and meaningless. Everything that I hold dear, I let go beyond your half. Every day I see the world ending another day. I live a lone life, live in seclusion and solitude. I hate everyone and everything. With the power of my AR, you will all know who I am. I had enough of being told what to do and when to do. I had enough of telling me that I'm an idiot and a dumbass. But in real life, you're all the dumbass. You're all stupid and brainwashed by these fucking political government programs. You will all see, you will all know who my name is.
During the court proceedings, both the jurors and the general public had the opportunity to witness the video, providing first-hand insight into how Cruz portrayed himself and his outlook on the world. In his recorded statement, he mentions his aim to take the lives of at least 20 people, a goal he tragically came close to achieving.
My name is Nick, and I'm going to be the next school shooter of 2018. My goal is at least 20 people. With an AR-15 and a couple tracer rounds, I think I can get done. Location is Stone Douglas in Parkland, Florida. It's going to be a big event. And when you see me on the news, you'll all know who I am. You're all going to die. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
Subsequently, Cruz was found guilty and received a sentence of 34 consecutive life terms. In 2021, a tragic event unfolded when 15-year-old Ethan Crumley entered Oxford High School, located just outside Detroit, and committed the horrifying act of taking the lives of 4 students while injuring 7 others. Within this devastating context, cell phone footage captured from inside a classroom depicts students reacting to the presence of sheriff's office personnel knocking on the door.
Sheriff's office! Yeah, we're here.
Faced with the uncertainty as to the unknown person's intentions, the students opted not to open the door. Instead, they made the courageous decision to escape through the window, seeking refuge in another area of the school.
Yeah, he said it's safe to come out.
Now, we're not willing to take that risk right now. I can't hear you. We're not taking that risk right now. Okay, well, come to the door and look at my bag, bro.
Yeah, bro.
He said bro.
He said bro. Red flag.
Where readily identifiable sheriffs ensured their safety. Furthermore, footage from the officers' body cams revealed the suspect in custody at the local jail, where he is shown engaging in prayer and seeking forgiveness, while officers maintain his secure custody. This footage appears to depict Crumley as someone grappling with a range of severe mental issues. However, it is noteworthy that both he and his parents faced charges in connection with this incident. In the case of his parents, their actions included not only overlooking their son's previous behavioral concerns, but also purchasing a firearm for the underage youth. On Mother's Day in 2021, the tragic discovery of 13-year-old Tristan Bailey's lifeless body sent shockwaves through the community. She had suffered a horrifying fate, having been brutally stabbed a staggering 114 times. The alleged perpetrator was a fellow student, 14-year-old Aiden Fucci, who had lured her into going for a walk before carrying out the horrifying act. A disconcerting video surfaced on social media, depicting Fucci seated in the back of a police car at his school, seemingly in high spirits, making light-hearted remarks and even calling out to Tristan as if to continue their walk.
Having fun in a cop car.
Yep. Tristan.
What's up, guys?
Tristan, if you walk out the damn...
However, surveillance footage from the night of the murders captured Tristan and Fucci walking down the streets as companions. Moments later, Fucci can be seen walking alone in the opposite direction, holding his shoes. Intriguingly, footage from Fucci's residence showed him arriving home very late and taking care not to disturb his family. The narrative takes another twist the following day, with footage allegedly showing Fucci's mother engaging in activities like scrubbing his jeans and potentially tampering with evidence after sheriffs had taken her son into custody. This raised questions about her potential involvement in a cover-up. In 2022, a tragic incident unfolded at Atlantic Station in Atlanta, Georgia, resulting in the fatal shooting of a 15-year-old boy and an innocent 12-year-old bystander. The event involved a total of 3 assailants, and unfortunately, 6 other teenagers were caught in the crossfire, with the apparent target being Cameron Jackson. Surveillance footage obtained after the shooting reveals the suspects arriving at the station as a group, but what is particularly distressing is that the 12-year-old victim, Zion Charles, had been with the company just moments before the tragic incident. Shortly after the shooting, the group moved to a different station across the street, where they can be seen engaging in celebratory gestures and handshakes. While 2 of the shooters, aged 15 and 16, were apprehended shortly afterwards, the circumstances surrounding the involvement of their friend Zion in this tragic incident remain unknown. While the United States is often associated with a high rate of violent crime, it's important to recognize that no country is immune to such violence. The tragic case of young Alicia McPhail serves as a stark reminder of this reality. On July 2, 2018, in North Lanarkshire, Scotland, Aaron Campbell enters the McPhail residence with the intention of stealing cannabis. Discovering 6-year-old Alicia asleep, he proceeds to abduct, assault, and ultimately take her life. Home security footage captured Campbell's suspicious behavior on the day of the abduction, as he repeatedly moves around the front and backyards, often returning with a flashlight in hand. He was subsequently found guilty of the child's murder and is currently serving a prison sentence. In another incident in the United States, the Volusia County Sheriff's Department had to address a situation where a teenager brought a firearm to school. The incident, which occurred on March 8, 2022, was captured on video. In the footage, police officers, accompanied by a school resource officer, entered the gymnasium of Atlantic High School. They located the student, instructed him to raise his hands, and then escorted him into the hallway.
You don't know? Okay. All right. Do me a favor. Keep your hands out of your pockets for me. Okay. Take your backpack off for me. All right. So somebody reported that they have a photo of you, and in the photo it looks like there's some sort of a weapon sticking out of a pocket, or take your hands out of your pockets. Okay. Do me a favor. Just lift your sweatshirt up. Turn around for me. Turn around again. Lift your sweatshirt up again. What is that? Relax. Okay?
Following a brief investigation, they identified the firearm, which the young man had stolen from a relative. Notably, in this case, law enforcement and school authorities were alerted to the student's actions through a TikTok post earlier that day. Although the video itself was harmless, school officials noticed that the student appeared to have a firearm concealed in his waistband. Consequently, he faced charges of possessing a firearm on school premises, grand theft of a firearm, and carrying a concealed weapon. Late one night, 18-year-old Edward Redmond received a text while on a bus, informing him that the 17-year-old boy he had stabbed in the heart less than 30 minutes earlier had died. In a state of distress, Redmond hastily rose from his seat, paced the bus aisles, and urgently made phone calls. The stabbing incident had taken place at a house party in Colchester, arising from a dispute between 2 teenagers concerning alcohol. Redmond was subsequently sentenced to 17 years in prison, and both his father and brother were apprehended for their involvement in attempting to conceal evidence for the young man. Upon receiving a call reporting a woman napping in her car at a gas station, the police promptly responded to the scene. They lightly tapped on her window, hoping to understand her situation. As soon as she opened the door, it became apparent that she was under the influence of a potent substance. She offered a swift and almost rehearsed explanation, stating that she was merely waiting for someone who was supposed to send her money for gas.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm sorry. I've been waiting for someone to send me money.
What's that?
I've been waiting for someone to send me money for gas.
You're out of gas? Do you remember being woken up this morning?
Yes. And I
Jeez, when you can't
fell back
sleep,
to sleep shortly after that. I'm so tired.
Where you from?
It's cold.
It's cold.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to be bringing you some gas money.
Well, I was supposed to be sending it on Cash App.
Okay. Do you need EMS for anything?
No.
What's that?
No.
No? Okay. Have you drank anything, took anything that made you pass out?
No, I just have been up for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
When the officers requested her identification, she searched her bag in a disorganized manner and failed to produce it.
Is there a gun in this bag?
No, there's not a gun here.
Okay. All right, well, Parker told me there's ammo, so I just want to make sure there wasn't a gun in the bag itself.
The owner of this vehicle, the original owner of the vehicle,
So you're not the restaurant owner?
not at the moment, no.
What do you mean not at the moment?
Well, he went to jail a couple days ago.
For what?
I don't know, he had a warrant out of town. And said that basically he'll be gone in a while, so tell me when the title was and everything, and keep on to it, because he'd rather...
No, you can still look for your ID. Do you mind if I look in there and look for your ID?
Yeah, mine.
Okay. So you don't have a ID, driver's license, nothing?
My ID number, that helps.
Okay.
Ow.
I saw you're sitting on a car. There's something underneath you. Would that be it? No, it's up underneath you. Not it? All right, what's your last name?
Last night I ran out of gas in Atmore.
How do you spell your last name?
Yeah.
C-A-R-C...
What is it?
That's
Someone falls asleep, so that it's like a crime now.
So what is it?
Tired and wrong.
What's your first name?
Can I get answers, please?
Well, I'm asking you for your name.
The initial conversation remained civil, with the officers displaying considerable patience. However, as it progressed, the woman began to feel that her rights were being infringed upon.
So, are you a convicted felon or are you not a convicted felon?
I mean, I don't know how that works. They changed.
Have you ever been convicted of a felony? Have you been charged with a felony and convicted of a
Is
felony?
that a felony, habitual driving license?
What's that?
Is that a felony, habitual driving?
Well, it is a felony, but what matters is if you've been convicted of a felony.
What does that matter? What do you mean
Go and step out for me, okay? Step out.
What do you mean?
Step out the car. Go and step out.
Please talk to me.
We are, but we need you to step out.
She repeated her story about waiting for gas money, despite the presence of a $100 bill in her pocket, discovered by the officers without much effort. This raised the suspicion that the car might have been stolen.
Put your hands behind your back.
You're not forward us.
Don't touch.
Oh, it's 20 feet a second.
Okay.
You need to tell me now.
No, he's going to talk to me first, and then we'll talk to you.
I have rights too, you know.
Yes, ma'am, we know. And we're not violating your rights.
Yeah, you are.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way.
You cannot detain me without telling me anything.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
No, you can't. As a matter of fact, you cannot.
You have it home. I'll make sure she ain't got none of her pockets.
I don't, you know, please tell me what's going on.
Well, right now, there's a report from back on the 19th of this car being stolen.
On the 19th, from the man that went to jail that told me to drive it? No, you cannot arrest me for this car. I was given this car. You want to see my text messages?
Just relax, okay? Right now you're being detained.
And when questioned about her connection to the owner, she stammered, "I've known him for a while back."
How do you know him?
I met him. I met him a while back.
Okay. All right.
I met him. Oh yeah.
Her demeanor shifted to making demands, including calling someone named Sergeant Caleb.
You need to call Sergeant Caleb, like right now.
Sergeant who?
Caleb!
Who's Sergeant Caleb?
Well, you'll know when you call the number. It's in my phone.
I'm not calling anybody.
You're supposed to. I'm supposed to tell you that.
You're supposed to tell me a sergeant.
All right, keep on. You're supposed to.
I'm not going to call Sergeant Caleb.
County.
Because I don't know a Sergeant Caleb.
Really? That's his first name.
Okay, well, I don't know people by their first name. We go by last names.
Well, I'll give you the phone number. I'm told to tell y'all to call him.
Roger that.
Multiple meth pipes were found in the car, indicating the cause of the behavior. The officers were astounded by the number of pipes they found.
How many freaking meth pipes can you find in one vehicle? Dude, these meth pipes don't stop. I've got 2 more back here. There's 1, 2 on the front, and then 4 right here.
The officer read her Miranda rights, repeating them to ensure she heard and understood.
If you're claiming it's yours, you're responsible for anything inside that vehicle.
I didn't say it was mine.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I did?
Yes,
Or did I say that someone told me to hold on to it while they went to jail?
Okay, if you're driving it, you have possession of it, which means everything within said vehicle is yours.
Please call the officer that I told you. Like he said, if you get in trouble, tell them.
You have the right to remain silent.
Do you hear me?
Anything you say can be used against you in court.
You need to call this guy first and figure out what's going on. Thank you.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice where we ask you any questions and have them with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you for any question if you wish. If you decide to answer questions without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop at any time. You also have the right to stop answering any time to speak to a lawyer. Do you understand the rights I just read to you?
No.
I'll read them again.
Amid her unraveling, she claimed to be a confidential informant.
So you can understand your rights, okay?
I said I don't understand what I'm being arrested for.
All right, so
there's a title that...
You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that?
I do. What am I being arrested for?
Anything you say can be used against you in court. Do you understand that?
I was specifically told by a guy way above your pay grade, buddy, that if you are ever in trouble, tell them to call me.
Well, good for him, whoever he is, or she.
He's a sergeant of the DEA.
Oh, well, good for him.
So call him.
But he's not here.
He said to tell y'all to call him.
I'm not calling
he's not here.
So,
all right.
Anything you say can be used against you in court.
Arrogant.
Do you understand that?
I understand you're done. This is so funny.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions and have them with you during questions.
Can I speak to the other guy? See what he thinks?
No.
Yeah. Sir, you're supposed to call Sergeant Caleb for the DA. Thank you.
If we haven't made contact with the owner, we could seize it for safekeeping to return to said owner.
Right.
While the woman was confined in the police cruiser, the officers had to decide what to do with the stolen vehicle.
Caesar, if he just wants us to tell him. I would take pictures of it, of everything.
Yeah. Well, it's on my body cam where it came out of.
They continued to explain the reasons for her arrest, but she persisted in yelling and ranting.
Arrest for possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of ammo by a convicted felon.
Well, that was under a legal search then, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm
yes,
sorry
sir.
to say that way.
I promise. You cannot touch that vehicle if I didn't steal it. I need to talk to that guy. Illegal search! Excuse me, I need to speak to you, sir. They won't listen to me. I need to speak to you. They won't listen to me, sir. And now they know they're in trouble, so they're lying.
Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, friends.